In a sunlit corner of Misty Meadow, nestled beneath a willow tree whose branches swayed like gentle dancers, lived Benny the bunny. Benny wasn't just any bunny. His snowy white fur gleamed like new snowflakes, every hair velvety smooth. His large ears stood tall and alert, one always with a playful little bend at the tip. Emerald green eyes sparkled with curiosity and cleverness, and his sky blue vest fit as snug as a hug, with brass buttons and teeny secret pockets just right for surprises. Around his neck, Benny always wore his favorite crimson scarf, ends fluttering behind him as he hopped over mossy logs or peeked into sun-dappled burrows. One crisp, clear morning, Benny woke to the scent of wildflowers and warm sun streaming into his burrow. He sat up, fluffed his white tail like a cotton puff, and gave his vest a satisfied pat. Today felt different, special somehow. As he nibbled a juicy clover for breakfast, Benny remembered something. Last night, he dreamt of treats unlike any he'd tasted before. Crumbly, sweet, and bursting with happiness. Cookies! "I wonder what it's like to bake cookies," Benny whispered. The idea filled him with excitement. He'd never baked before. But Benny was nothing if not curious and brave. Benny slipped his favorite wooden spoon from a secret pocket in his vest and tied his scarf just a little tighter. He hopped outside, the grass cool and springy under his paws. He was determined to bake the tastiest cookies Misty Meadow had ever smelled. At the edge of the meadow stood the Old Oak Bakery, a little kitchen Benny had built from hollowed logs with a round window and a chimney that puffed tiny clouds. Benny hadn't used it much, but today flour dust would dance in the golden sunlight pouring through the kitchen window. Benny gathered his ingredients: bags of flour, a pot of clover honey, fresh butter, and the last of his sweetest meadow blueberries. Each item came from a different nook in his cozy home. Flour from the burrow pantry, honey from his friend Penny the bee, butter he'd churned himself, and blueberries picked with nimble paws that very morning. He tied on his stripy apron and tapped his paw. "All right, Benny," he said to himself, "let's give baking a try." Just then, a tiny knock pattered at the open window. It was Oliver the squirrel, with a bushy rust-brown tail and twinkling black eyes. "Morning, Benny! What's that delightful smell? Are you cooking something fun?" Benny grinned, his ears tilting. "Not yet, Oliver, but I'm about to bake cookies for the very first time. Would you like to help?" Oliver's whole body shivered with delight. "Yes, please. I've always wanted to be a baker's helper." The two friends set to work side by side. Benny scooped up a cloud of flour, which puffed into the air and sprinkled their noses. Oliver giggled. "Flour snow," he cheered. They measured and mixed, humming a tune that floated out the window. Honey made the dough sticky and sweet, and the blueberries popped like little purple jewels in the bowl. Benny was careful and neat, making sure every brass button on his vest stayed as shiny as ever, while Oliver was quick and eager, whisking and tasting whenever he could. As they worked, a soft tapping interrupted the kitchen melody. It was Millie the mouse, with silky gray fur and big round ears. "It smells so yummy in here, Benny. What are you making?" "Cookies," Benny replied. "Would you like to join us, Millie?" "Oh, yes," Millie exclaimed, wiggling her nose excitedly. "I'm good at stirring." Now, with 3 friends, the kitchen buzzed with laughter, spills, and adventure. Millie handled the mixing, Oliver rolled little dough balls between his paws, and Benny arranged them neatly on the baking trays, leaving just enough space for each cookie to grow golden and round. Before long, the cookies were ready for the old acorn wood oven. Benny and his friends gathered close as the fire crackled and sent cozy smells swirling through the air. The sweetness of honey, the fruity tang of blueberries, and the promise of something new and wonderful. They peered through the oven window, watching the cookies puff and brown. As the timer jolted with a friendly ding, Benny slipped on his mitts, ones his mother had knitted just for him, and carefully lifted out the trays. The cookies, round and soft, glistened with warm purple and gold. Benny placed the first batch on a cooling rack. Everyone leaned in. Oliver's whiskers quivered. Millie licked her lips. Benny inhaled deeply. The cookies smelled better than anything in the whole world, like a hug, a picnic, and a birthday all at once. With a drum roll, Benny presented the first cookie to Oliver. "For my first helper." Oliver took a bite. His eyes widened. "Oh, Benny, these are amazing. They're sweet and soft and bursting with blueberries." Millie nibbled the next one. "Yum! These are the most scrumptious cookies I've ever tasted." Benny tasted his own cookie. The flavors popped in his mouth. Sweet honey, buttery richness, and the juicy zing of blueberries. He smiled so wide, his ears almost straightened up completely. "We did it!" Suddenly, there was a knock at the kitchen door. Benny opened it to find more friends, drawn by the delicious scent swirling through misty meadow. Penny the bee buzzed in, carrying a tiny honey pot. Jasper the mole popped up beside the door, dusting earth from his velvety paws. Even Shiloh the owl, night-loving and wise, swooped down from her treetop branch, blinking in the sun. "What's that marvelous smell, Benny?" Jasper asked, sniffing the air. "Cookies," Millie announced proudly. "Benny made them, and they're magical." Benny chuckled and invited everyone in. He arranged the cookies on a blue-checked cloth, offering them around the cozy kitchen. As each friend took a bite, something wonderful happened. Their faces lit up with the biggest, brightest smiles Benny had ever seen. Penny buzzed with delight. "These are the best cookies. They taste like joy." Jasper licked his lips. "I love the blueberries. There's nothing like this down in my tunnels." Shiloh nodded, her wise eyes twinkling. "Benny, you've baked a feast of happiness." Benny felt his heart grow warm and light. He looked at his friends, all gathered in his sunny kitchen, laughing and sharing stories as they munched cookies. The sight of so many smiling faces made Benny's paws tingle with pride and joy. Soon, everyone helped themselves to another cookie. Laughter rippled through the little bakery, like music made from happiness. Even Benny's little tail wiggled with glee, and not a crumb went wasted. As the last cookie disappeared, Millie perched beside Benny. "Thank you for baking with us, Benny. Today was the best surprise." Benny's emerald eyes sparkled. "I've learned something new. When you try something for the first time, it can turn into an adventure. And sharing makes everything even sweeter." Oliver hopped up. "Let's bake again tomorrow. Maybe carrot muffins." Everyone cheered. Benny, his vest dusted with happy specks of flour, promised to keep the kitchen open for baking and for laughter. The afternoon drifted on. Friends hugged and said their goodbyes, carrying home sweet memories and maybe, just maybe, a few crumbs to taste again. Benny stood in his sunny kitchen, heart full. He found a special joy in making others smile. With a dash of curiosity, a sprinkle of hope, and a whole lot of kindness, he had baked happiness, cookie by cookie. Later, as the sun dipped low and painted the sky with gold, Benny sat beneath the willow tree. He tugged his crimson scarf snug, feeling its warmth and remembering the fun he'd shared with his friends. From that day forward, whenever the winds carried the sweet scent of cookies through Misty Meadow, all the animals would smile. They knew Benny the Bunny was baking, and that soon they'd gather to share new treats, new laughter, and the biggest, friendliest smiles Misty Meadow had ever seen. And Benny, breakfast bunny and baker extraordinaire, kept baking cookies full of happiness, one batch at a time.